Okay, here we are in round one. Hello and good luck to Mr. 7000. Do we want to play first? Yes. A pretty weak hand, but we have a 2-drop, and then one land gets us 2 more 3-drops, so I'm not going to mull on the play. Not amazing, but certainly doable in an 18-land Deckaroo. And then I'll lead off with Swamp to represent Farika's Cure. That's not in my deck. Alright. And then we shall go ahead and turn the sound off. I don't know if that was recording or not, the sound, but we don't want her, that's for sure. And hey, we actually have a mini aggressive start. How about that? Get our 2-1 down, play Harpy next, and then another land really gets things flowing. And we got our land, so that's awesome. I will go ahead and offer the trade, because I would actually love it if my opponent wants to trade off. I assume that won't happen. Nope. Grandiose. 4 into Insatiable Harpy. 4 into Disciple Phoenix, get rid of card, and then keep beating down with the flyers. Man, I wish I had an ordeal right now. I mean, I do wish, but I just still think it was right to cut it. I think that's correct. Maybe I'm wrong, but that would be an awesome board to have an ordeal with. Ooh, my opponent's going a little bit slow here on developing a board, which is nice for me. Could be a 4-drop here still, but seeing an Unknown Shores means I'm not super scared of too much. Attack for 1? Yeah, go for it, buddy. I'll play this race game any day. Though it's probably a smart attack if my opponent's worried about flyers. Just trying to get it, because if my opponent only cares about flyers, I assume this Satyr, though, is going to be too valuable. It may not have been worth, like, risking. But apparently, I mean, my opponent certainly did read me well, knowing that this was going to be good. Ooh, and Unicorn? That's interesting. But we're just going to get the beats down started. Oh, wait. Let's see what my opponent does here. I was going to play the Insatiable Harpy first, but my opponent might choose to block. No, didn't. Okay. 1 fatty will come down next turn, but hopefully we'll get 1 other fatty out of hand. And then we can Voyages end some fatty if it's really nasty. Okay, so Magma Jet is a bummer, but not the end of the world. I was more worried about there are 2 Sea God's Revenges in this draft, so a blue player besides myself was also likely to have it. Opponent is a 3-drop Nessian Courser? Interesting. Easily pulling whatever creature is out of my opponent's hand. Would love to have my Harpy still, but I'm okay with not having my Harpy. What else is there to worry or not worry about? Would love to see some irrelevant, like Savage Surge and then like a Nessian Asp or something, so I can get rid of the fatty and then know that there's a combat trick ready to happen, but looking to just not be very interactive and kind of beat down with my 2-1 a whole bunch. Oh, wow. That's fascinating. So let's see. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So both can come down, but the Voyage's End deals with the Nessian, the Nemesis of Morals pretty well. I think I'm a little bit more scared of the Keepsake Gorgon, because if 7 mana does get reached, then the its Monstrosity is a little more of a pain. Whereas I think I'm going to be racing pretty well against a Nemesis Immortals. Remember, there's a Nemesis Immortals there. I wonder if my decision would be different if I didn't have the Voyage's End. Would love to draw a land next turn so I can play my Wave Crash Triton and keep Voyage's End up, and then put a Nimbus Naiad on the Wave Crash Triton, targeting something and just being all sorts of awesome. Yep. There goes the dude, who we don't care too much about, though have to respect its power for sure. Yeah, we got our land, so that is grand. We'll just beat for 2. I should just play the Wave Crash Triton. Opponent only has access to 1 mana. I can't think of anything relevant in that exchange. But it's fine. I was going to F6, so I'm keeping Voyage's End up anyway. Let's see what else gets thrown down. My opponent just Monstrosity in the Nemesis? Ah, She-God's Revenge. So, yeah, definitely puts me back. Can I take 8 damage? I think we just go ahead and do Voyage's End right now. Only take 3 damage. That's going on top of Library. We got lots of things to do, but if we don't get there, this will really help us finish the game out. Not blocking. Here, I think we just put the Naiad on the Disciple of Phoenix and attack in. We're not taking a lot of pressure next turn, and we're just doing this race thing, right? Yeah. Because I just try to just keep the pressure up while I can. Because here at max I take 5, and then my opponent plays the Nemesis. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, can't even play the Nemesis unless, well, a land could come down. Because right now Nemesis costs 5 with the Keepsake Gorgon in graveyard. So I could take 4, I guess, at worst. And if my opponent taps out and I draw a land, could just be time to put the Emissary out there, which is the case. And then win. So there is at least one Sea God's Revenge that I'm facing from my opponent, who is playing an interesting brew there. Green-black, one of my all-time favies. I don't remember what else. So green-black-blue. Are you really splashing? It's like green-blue with a splash of the Keepsake Gorgon, which is pretty greedy. I'm just curious, do I want to bring in this Dark Betrayal just for the Keepsake Gorgon, which is quite good. My opponent's not going fast. I do think this Ordeal would be good because her flyers are awesome. Do I care about Bronze Sable? I don't think so. I think I just want to give it a 2-drop. Keep the 3s. Wave Crash Down would be good on defense. Yeah, I feel like the Keepsake Gorgon is just a splash. I'm not going to bring in a Dark Betrayal for the 1 splash because I do have ways of dealing with it. Kind of a non-bow here. But whatever. Can't Monstrosity my Hythonia and then kill anything. That's a bummer. I'm not going to mulligan. My opponent's going pretty slow as well, and I have 18 lands, so I should be able to play the Nimbus Naiad on turn 3 pretty reliably. We'll see. Voyage's End helps buy time if things get a little hairy. Kind of burns a card, but should be alright. Yeah, just want to land. All I want's a land. Do I want a Voyage's End just to guarantee a land? No. Yeah, that's better. So we are on race mode. Looks like we're taking 4 this turn. I might just go ahead and trade the Satyr and the Bloodtail Harpy if my opponent offers it. Can I have a different flyer to make dreams happen in this game? It should be F6, huh? So my opponent have a comeback trick? Nope. That's cool. I don't want my opponent rushing out anything bigger. And this is pretty okay for me. What do I want? I think I just want to go ahead and rock this Erebos' Emissary down. Oh, Marshall didn't win the last draft. He was in the finals of that draft I was doing. Didn't quite make it. Sorry, bud. I say bud. He has no clue who I am. But I was rooting for him, even though he beat me in round 1. If my opponent allows me to block, I will go ahead and block. Who don't I want? I think I want the Disciple, to be honest. The Chimera, any land I get to play next turn, where I have to wait in order to do this. And I'm happy to have this board state. And if my opponent wants to start playing random trickery dudes, that's fine. Griptide. Okay. I thought there was like a combat trick. I should have paid attention to more bounce, because bounce is what gets me. And my opponent do the unblockable thing, which meant there was obviously a positive interaction from my opponent. So that was a pretty bad play on my part. Let's see if I fall for it again. Let's see if my opponent, Mr. 7000, offers that again. Ooh, Farika's Mender? At least it's just a Voyaging Satyr that it gets back. I really want to land. That is not even close to a land. We're going to save that for discarding and on defense. Because now we can block, discard the Flesh Mad Steed, trade it off with the Farika's Mender, and keep Voyage's End up in case more shenanigans happen. Satyr's in hand. Alright, Agent gets to be unblockable. Not super worried about that quite yet. Here comes a Satyr. They just need a land. Oh, another Voyage's End. That does allow me to do a little bit more. I'm definitely going to be playing a Voyage's End on my opponent's next turn. I could be playing this Nimbus Naiad, but I think it's relevant enough to keep it for Bestow and to keep these Voyage's Ends up. What would be ideal for me right now is if my opponent, pays that, only attacks in with Agent, I play the Voyage's End to bounce it, sending my opponent back, and this Farika's Mender doesn't come through. Oh, actually, the Farika's Mender can come through. Definitely want you on top. Yeah. Alright, I think I want to get the Prescient Chimera down. To diversify what I'm doing. We'll keep playing this defensive game and use our removal spells to try to kill some dudes. I think the Lash is going to have to take out the Agent of Fates. And Erebos' Emissary is going to stay on defense with all of that. Because right now I need to be getting the Prescient Chimera in for some wins. And having this much pressure can be tricky. Ooh, Sea God's Revenge. Okay. Yep. Knew that was a possibility. That's why I'm trying to play a little defensively, not get too low on life. What's my opponent playing? Oh, yes, of course, the Agent. So we take 7 here, and then we're going to be in a little bit of a tough spot. Marauder ain't exactly amazing. 3 or 5. So, if I'm to stay alive, what do I have to play? Because I'm at 5 life. 3 is for sure coming through unless I kill it now. If I do that, I'm going to do much. I think it has to be a Nimbus Naiad and a Flesh Mad Steed. But then I'm just chumping a bunch. That's silly. This game is lost in my opinion, so I'm just going to play the Chimera and see if my opponent wants to make a mistake. That's my game plan. I don't want to show any other cards that I had in hand, give my opponent information of what I was doing. My opponent just goes in for it. Yeah. As should. Yeah, there we go. I was going to say, how do I get to my sideboarding? I still like the game plan. I still think this ordeal is better than the Flesh Mad Steed. I'm not too sure I played that game very well. And I still don't want the Dark Betrayal. Viper's Kiss is now an option. I didn't think about that before. I feel like Monster actually could be good, but no, we got plenty of great big old dudes. I'm going to keep it this way. And try to get there. Yes, I want to play first. 1, 2, 3. What a sketch keep. Gonna have to mulligan. Nope, not gonna mulligan. I don't want to go down to 5. And we have some very powerful spells. And if we get 1 island, we'll be in good shape. At least we have a 4-drop, so that's pretty cool. Nelia's Presence. Okay. Read the Bones is good. Definitely want both of these, right? Because I definitely need an island. And then this Disciple should be alright. We'll play the Emissary next turn, maybe? Maybe the Disciple is kind of irrelevant right now. Yeah, still too good. Next turn, I think we're gonna play the Crackling Triton, actually. Little inefficient on the mana, but being able to bestow that Emissary on something is gonna be a little awesome. Ooh, maybe we do it with the Wave Crash Triton instead. So Sea God's Revenge is my #1 fear now, because it looks like my opponent has a pretty dirty deck with just like a couple fatties and then Sea God's Revenge. So if I can start getting some serious damage through, I'll be in good shape. Like, even if this is like a Unicorn or a Voyaging Satyr, tapping it down is going to be great with this Emissary. Right now we're okay. What do I want to do? I could just play my Crackling Triton, develop the board. Yeah. I hate being so inefficient with mana, but I feel like I have to. This does put a nice double block here. I don't think my opponent has anything, even with a bounce, I guess. That's it, yeah. Gotta be careful of Griptide. If my opponent bashes through, that means there's a Griptide or something. I do like the power of the spells in my hand, so I'm not particularly... Ooh, that's a good card too. Okay, here, I mean, I have to play either the Emissary or the Disciple, and I only get one card out of hand, but maybe I'm just being a little too needy about this Bestow, but I think it's going to be really good on this Wave Crash Triton to get a 4/7 that'll be able to tap down a big dude and keep bashing through. It's going to be pretty awesome, so I'm going to keep it. I'm just going to play the Disciple of Phoenix. I get a card out of hand, and my opponent missed a land, not last turn, but I think the turn before. So I should get something relevant. No, I'm insane. I'm miscounting. But that's fine. Lands are also good for my opponent. But yeah, that was obviously like the worst Disciple of Phoenix in Theros draft history. But we're just putting our defenses up. And then waiting for our last land in our 18 land deck. Because once we hit 6, we're in some really golden shape. So we're at 6, so at any point that the voyages happen, I am worried. Griptide could be bad, but I still get the trigger, so that alone is worth it. And, of course, I still get the Emissary. Cool. I'm going to bash in with all. There could be a Savage Surge, but all that does is eat one of these dudes, and that's actually okay. Is this the Griptide now? Voyage's End or something? What are you doing? Voyage's End, yes. Ooh, shiny one. It's actually one of the few shiny cards. It looks like the... it's like mist coming off the pieces there. That's kind of nice. And hey, we get in for 3. That's not bad. And with a string of removal, we're going to be in good shape. And a Griptide? Oh, wow. That's fascinating. Well, my opponent's blowing through cards in order to put us back on tempo and stay alive. And that's good because this Courser gets to continue to stay tapped. And if I want, I can kill what comes down next. Or just replay some cards, which is what's going to happen. Attack him with both. I don't need this guy for a blocker. We'll play the Wave Crash Triton down. I'm going to save the Crackling Triton now as maybe a discard. I think it's pretty irrelevant. I like having the Wave Crash Triton, though, in case we, happen to get another way to target it, which I don't have a lot on my deck, but it also helps block this Nessian Courser. Counter target blue spell. Oh, okay. What's better that than one of these two, that's for sure. We do take 3, but we dealt 4, so that's fine. This might be a long game if we Sea Gods revenge each other a bunch. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to bestow my Disciple and try to get in there. See what my opponent wants to do. My opponent knows I have a Crackling Triton in hand. My opponent doesn't know if I have anything else, though. Ooh, Divine Verdict. That's a bummer. I get 2 for 1 there. I haven't seen that before, and my opponent's playing white, which is kind of random. Still seems like we're in an okay position having on this Naiad on. My opponent's playing a lot of reactive spells. Should just attack in, and does. And at this point, I'm perfectly fine in a race situation. Nemesis of Mortals is going to take a sip of Hemlock. And then with 2 Voyages and a Sea God's Revenge backup, we're going to be in really good shape. Should have done that after combat, side note. Since the Nemesis doesn't have flying, there's no reason to do that in the first main phase. Trying to think of cards that can make me lose this game with what I have in hand. Maybe a discard or something. I'm absolutely surprised that Divine Verdict is in this deck. My opponent's already stretching pretty hard. Sharika's Mender, gaining back that guy, but that's not going to do a whole lot. We'll go ahead and put the Ordeal on to increase the pressure. And then save our Voyage's End for something relevant. I might just go ahead and Voyage's End when my opponent attacks in. Yes, there is the Nemesis of Mortals right now. But there's no other creature or enchantment spell in my opponent's deck for the Pharika's Mender to hit. So let's just not get too low in life. We're going to put that on top, because that's a great card. That will finish the game out right here, right away. Sea God's Revenge. Should still have a win here. There's only 2 left. One is a Nemesis, one is... Let's... 1, 2, 3... Pretty... it's not super risky. There we go. GG's. I'm very glad I won that. No offense to Mr. 7000, but I just would not have wanted to have lost to this very greedy kind of weird build. Very curious though, but I'm very glad that we saw the Sea Gods Revenges in that matchup and where they came from, because now I know that they're there and I don't have to play around them because I saw 2 already. So woohoo! On to round 2. Hopefully we don't play Mike and we meet Mike in the finals, but here we go.